Hi, it's Mr. Melick. Today we're going to talk about an art technique for jewelry making called cloisonne. Cloisonne was popular between 500 AD roundabouts and 1000 AD after the fall of the Roman Empire, before the rise of the Holy Roman Empire, and it was popular among the migrating, that means the traveling tribes, some of which were known as the Goths and the Visigoths. Now they migrated, which means they moved everything and everyone, their houses, which were tent cities, and their homes and their families and their horses, from the far east of Europe, Russia, roundabouts, all the way west through Italy and Spain, and they took everything with them. Now, because they were traveling, their art couldn't be big and bulky. You can't carry a giant marble statue with you across Europe. So, instead, they made art that was portable, and they made a lot of beautiful jewelry. And that's where the cloisonne comes in. To start with, they would take a flat sheet of metal, sometimes gold, sometimes a less precious metal, and they would add raised wire, and they would create pattern more often than not. Sometimes they would create animal shapes, but oftentimes they would create beautiful patterns, and they would raise used raised wire, and they would create a pattern, and then they would fill that pattern with enamel, and they would melt it with a fire kiln device, and they would get beautiful jewelry. So let's see how to make a simple faux cloisonne. We're going to start with a piece of paper. I'm going to trace a circle. I'm going to draw a shape. This time it's going to be a heart. I'm going to surround it with other shapes. I'm going to draw some concentric circles. I'm going to draw some shapes around that. And I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to make a radial pattern. That means it radiates out from the center. Now I'm going to take that piece of paper. And I'm going to take my piece of felt. I'm going to take my piece of metal. On one side it's copper colored, on one side it's silver. If you push into the silver, the copper will pop out, and that's what I want, and vice versa. I'm going to tape my image down so that I do not lose my place. And like I said, so if I lose my place, I can flip it up and down. It won't go anywhere. And I'm going to put it down on that yellow felt. I'm going to take a somewhat dull pencil, and I'm going to trace over every line of that design, and see it pops out on the copper colored side when I have it on the silver. If you want it to pop out on the silver, do the opposite, and I'm going to trace over every one of those lines. I'm going to use pressure so that it pushes in. I can flip it over and check if I need to. I'm going to go slowly over each one of those shapes. This is fast motion, by the way, in case you were wondering. And when I'm all done, I can flip it over, and I have all these lovely lines popping out. And now I can take my permanent marker, and I can color, and I want my color to be inside of those raised edges to replicate that effect of cloisonne, that enamel with the metal wire dividing the beautiful colors. It gives it a gemstone-like appearance. And I'm going to take that permanent marker. I'm going to fill in all of those shapes, making sure not to put color on the raised line. Now I can take that paper off, and I can use scissors, and I can cut out my general shape. And now I'm going to punch a hole. When we do this, we want to be careful. If we punch it too close to the edge, then it will rip through. So I'm going to push down nice and far. Be very careful. Push down nice and far. Punch a hole there. And now I'm ready to attach my string. I've got my pendant. I'm going to take a full double arm's length worth of string. I'm going to cut it. Spread both arms out as far as you can. That will be your length of string. I'm going to put that through that hole, slide it through so that the ends meet up, and I'm going to tie it off like a shoelace, over, under, through, tie it tight, and do that again, over, under, through, pull it tight, and there, it's nice and secure. Now I'm going to take both ends together, I'm going to run them together, I'm going to treat them like one piece of string. I'm going to take two pieces of string, treat them like one. I'm going to pull them out tight. I'm going to make a loop using both pieces of string and treating them both like one. I'm going to take the end and put both of those ends through that one circle. I'm going to pull them tight, And if I do it correctly and pull it tight, I get one of the strongest knots you can get, a box knot. There we go, and I have my cloisonne pendant. Ta-da!